Coming up next on Tech News Today, the FCC has a plan to open up the playing field for set-top boxes on cable TV networks, and they actually just weakened it a little bit. Also, the Raspberry Pi 3 gets a starter kit for would-be makers. Alphabet's Project Wing has burritos on its mind. What it's like to wear Apple's new AirPods while running laps around a room. And seriously, you should probably do yourself a favor and get rid of the Galaxy Note 7. I'm very, very serious about that. All that and more coming up next on Tech News Today.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by CashFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Tech News Today, episode 1594, recorded Thursday, September 8th, 2016.
This episode of Tech News Today is brought to you by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Rocket Mortgage brings the mortgage process into the 21st century with a fast, easy, and completely online process. Check out Rocket Mortgage today at quickenloans.com/TNT.
And by Grasshopper. Stay connected and run your business from your mobile phone with Grasshopper. To save $50 on your order, visit trygrasshopper.com/twit.
Welcome to Tech News Today. We are the, how shall I say this? Kirk and Spock of
that
Tech
works.
News.
Very fitting. Very fitting. 50 years.
50 years we've been together, you and I.
It flew by like that. I feel like it's been like a half a year.
Yeah.
But apparently it's been 50 that we've been on the air.
We talk about tech news. I am Megan Morrone.
And I'm Jason Howell. Maybe we don't talk so well about Star Trek and the 50-year anniversary. I've said already on the show in the past, I'm not the hugest long-time devotee to Star Trek, but I appreciate it, and I appreciate the passion that people have today because, wow, a 50-year anniversary is a big deal.
It is a big deal.
Yeah.
They've been through a lot together.
They have. You know what also just happened right before we went to started the show? NASA's OSIRIS-REx blasted off into space to basically pick up some, analyze information on, Bennu, the asteroid, that might be potentially hazardous to planet Earth. So it's kind of like that Armageddon movie with Bruce Willis, except that Bruce Willis is not a part of it, and it's probably not going to result in an actual Armageddon.
Right, and Bennu is such a cute name.
Oh, Bennu, little Bennu, the asteroid. It really is. You know what else is a cute name? The FCC. For months, I can't even do that with a straight face. For months, the FCC has been seeking to unchain the set-top box market and pull that power away from the cable companies and place it into the hands of consumers by allowing them to choose, have the power of choice on which device to use to watch their paid content. Tom Wheeler, FCC's chairman, wrote an op-ed in the LA Times today where he unveiled the FCC's revised plan for doing this, and it revolves around requiring pay TV providers to develop and provide free applications, free apps for the many systems that give subscribers access to all that programming content that's included in their subscription. Part of the plan would also require integrated search to allow a subscriber to quickly find the content they need and where it can be streamed from, to do it kind of like universally in the way that we've seen a lot of these kind of, streaming boxes tackle this challenge of searching for content across the board. The cable companies have made no bones about the fact that they do not like and have not liked what the FCC has been trying to do, namely, and whether they say it or not, it's because they make a heck of a lot of money off of renting out these DVRs, these cable boxes, all that kind of stuff, and this would basically strip them of that power. So they've lobbied really hard against it. Obviously, it's had some sort of effect on the FCC because this is really kind of a softening of the language that we've heard throughout the year leading up to this.
Yeah, I mean, they said, we've been talking about this before, they said, let's get rid of the cable box. But now, they're saying you have to, my first thought was, well, you have to buy a Roku or an Apple TV. Like, that's a lot to ask of people. But when you think about the price of those devices versus that, it's the average of $231 a year that people are paying to rent these boxes.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not, no one really pays attention to it. It's one of those things that just sort of slips by. Well, I have to do it, so I'm going to do it. You shouldn't have to do that anymore. So I think that the FCC has kind of given in on a little of the cable companies' requests. And the cable companies are still pushing back and saying, like, that's not enough.
Right.
So it's frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, people would have to buy something, you know, regardless. Part of this plan would be, you know, you opening up the playing field so that other hardware can access this content. And that's kind of what you're getting here. But what it really does is it puts like development of these apps, it puts that requirement on the cable company. So if you've got a million different platforms that, you know, video is served, Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, although not many people have Android TV, but you know, all these different places, the cable company, then it's kind of part of their process to create not just apps for all of those platforms, but apps that serve their customers in these certain ways. And I'm not sure that the cable companies aren't in the software business necessarily. Like I don't know if I have the greatest faith that they would create great apps for this. And even beyond that, I don't know that this necessarily solves the problem of price gouging in certain ways. You know, they could start charging for DVR capability inside the app to kind of make up the cost that they're losing from the rental of the DVR box. So I don't know if that nets consumers anything extra beyond what they already have.
So the FCC said that apps have to be free, but you're talking about like charging extra for certain content?
Sure. Right. Well, features, right? Okay. Yeah, sure. We can provide our content through here, but if you want, you know, and I don't know what those features would be. I'm just using cloud DVR as like an example. But you know, or I mean, I don't know. I have little faith in the cable companies just kind of taking this, if this were to pass, and I would imagine that they would go out against it if it was voted for and, you know, pass through. Little faith that they would just be like, oh, well, I guess that's it. Let's put all of our stuff in these apps and not try and recoup that cost in other ways. And I don't know, they're really good at finding ways to get that money out of you. So I have a feeling that would happen.
And universal search is one of those things that when you think like, I demand universal search, you think like, where are my priorities here? Like there are a lot of more horrible things in the world than the fact that I can, you know, search for Mr. Robot and, you know, Apple's telling me like I can only buy it. I can't get it on, you know, Amazon Prime or Netflix. But it's one of those things that is so frustrating. If you have, how hard could it be to tell me where all these things are available and not just say, yeah, you could buy this on iTunes. Like, you know, I don't want to buy it on iTunes if I already subscribe to Netflix and
it's
Hulu.
there for rental or streaming, sorry.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, I think universal search is something that we deserve.
Yeah, and that's definitely a pro-consumer move as far as this is concerned. It gives the consumer it allows the consumer to decide where they're getting that content, and I'm pretty sure that the cable companies don't like that aspect. They like you knowing that you're using Comcast's on-demand system and you saw that movie is here, therefore you're going to buy it here. And you're not going to think about going anywhere else. This would kind of force them to put their content up in an even playing field with everything else. That part of this I actually really do like.
Well, you know what I need to cure my Apple EarPod hangover? Some good news about the Raspberry Pi. PC World reports that even Upton, the man behind the cheap computer, never had commercial success in mind. But today he announced that they had sold their 10 millionth Raspberry Pi. And in honor of that, the company is offering a new starter kit, which includes a Raspberry Pi 3 Model B, an 8GB Noobs SD card, an official case, an official 2.5 amp multi-region power supply, an official 1mm HDMI cable, an optical mouse, and a keyboard with high-quality scissor switch action. Copy of the book Adventures in Raspberry Pi Foundation edition. It's available in the UK for £99, which is about $140 US. It will be available to the rest of the world in the coming weeks. And every time you buy a Raspberry Pi, you fund their ongoing engineering work as well as the company's educational outreach programs.
I love the Raspberry Pi. I think it's really cool. I actually just ordered prior to this. Totally unrelated. I didn't know that this was happening. And then I saw it and I was like, wait a minute, did I order the wrong one? Because I ordered the 3. I thought maybe this meant that there was another version of it. But thankfully, that wasn't the case because I ordered another Raspberry Pi 3 to swap into my arcade at home to upgrade the specs there. And then I've got an extra Raspberry Pi. What am I going to do with it? I don't know. You can do a million of things with this stuff. You know, media centers, all sorts of kind of Internet of Things kind of concepts, whatever. I think this is awesome. It's like Radio Shack's circuit kits for, you know, people who want to be makers. And I think this is a great move.
Yeah, you know that rocket that we saw NASA just launched? You could have done that with a Raspberry Pi.
Almost.
No. Okay.
Almost achievable with a $35 mini computer.
Yeah, the goal of the Raspberry Pi Foundation was originally just to get computers into the hands of young people so that they would go to college and get experience with computers and sort of revive the excitement of the 80s, you know, the stuff that we felt like with the Commodore 64. And, you know, there was just so much excitement around computers and building computers. And but now it's really taken off in an amazing way. This is their first bundle, so it's exciting.
It's cool. On the other hand, and I will say, when I was looking at this and kind of looking through the components and everything, I did find myself going, that's a lot of money for some of this stuff. Like, I don't know how much the book costs, but I know that for a lot of this, if you have any sort of like long-term history with computers or whatever, you're probably going to have a keyboard hanging around. You're probably going to have an extra mouse in the cabinet. You're probably going to have an HDMI cable somewhere. So some of these things, for that to add up to $140, kind of seems like maybe it would be a little expensive for what you're getting. At the same time, there's total value to getting a kit. And some people, that's what they want. They want to know that they drop their money, they're going to get this hobby kit, and they're going to be able to do all sorts of things out of the box, not have to worry about mix and matching and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, it's the ease of use, because we got the $9 computer, the chip computer, and it came and we opened the box and it's so exciting, but like at home we didn't have, you know, we didn't have a keyboard. I don't know, it depends on how much stuff you have laying around. Like we didn't have a keyboard, we didn't have a mouse, we didn't have any of this stuff hanging around. We came in here, went to the basement of the brick house, and of course all of that stuff was just sitting around for us to take.
Mountains of keyboards at the brick house basement.
So I think it's just ease of use. This would make a great gift too, you know, for someone.
Totally. Alphabet has big ambitions. We hear about them all the time. We talk about them on this show. So it's no surprise that its Project Wing is about to tackle an issue we've all struggled with. How on earth can I get a burrito delivered to my doorstep by a drone? Apparently, Chipotle is down to provide said burrito, with Alphabet providing the wings. And they even have Virginia Tech students as test subjects who will intercept that food and promptly eat it, because college students are hungry for food and new technology and knowledge and all that kind of stuff. So I wish I was going to school here, because I'd love to have a little drone suddenly stop by and lower a burrito. I mean, these are hybrid drones, so they can fly like a plane when they need to get there fast, and then they hover, and the little arm lowers the burrito down to you, and you just grab it out of air, and you just take it and you eat the burrito. It's good.
You can't walk to the food truck, Jason? Your college Jason couldn't walk to the food truck?
I've got many games of ping pong to play, okay?
Okay. So these are not autonomous, but they are primarily guided by software. Like there's someone that's ready to take the helm if everything goes terribly wrong with the burrito drone. But it is, it's mostly, they can't fly over humans, and they wanted to figure out if they could use the winch system to wind them up and down. So it's not just that a drone. Okay, now I'm won over some reason for the winch system wins me over. Like it's totally worth it. Like just I'm lowering the.
Meanwhile, that was like, okay, yeah, whatever next. Hey, you know, whatever it takes to get people excited about drones and burritos.
Nothing. We don't need anything additional to get people excited.
That's all you
people
really
are
need to
already
say.
excited about drones and burritos.
One of the challenges here, of course, is it going to be warm when it's delivered?
Right. That is a big challenge.
It's just flying through the air all swiftly. It might be cold outside. No one wants a cold burrito. And reheating a burrito in the microwave is just never as good as how it is when you get it fresh.
Yep.
So there you go.
Universal search and warm burritos delivered by drones. That is what we demand.
The consumer has spoken.
Your Amazon Echo might be getting a little mouthier. A report in The Information says Amazon is prepping the product for push notifications, so the device might speak without first being spoken to. Soon Alexa will be able to tell you when your Uber is here, when someone is at your door, if traffic on your commute is worse than normal, or if you've left your lights on. Alexa developers have been asking for push notifications for a while, but I don't know if consumers are ready for a verbal nagging device in their living room. What do you think?
I think if there are controls that I can set, well, A, I have to have an Echo. B, if there are controls that I can set to say either no, I don't want this, which they've said that there will be some sort of control over that, or B, I can't remember if I said A the first time. If I can determine which apps can do this, because I might not want them all to do this, but there might be certain apps that sure I would want you to talk out loud or have time of day restrictions. Like, I guess what I'm saying is having some sort of control as a user, then why not? Extra feature. Some people are going to really want this. Other people it's going to annoy it to no end. But yeah, just turn it off.
Yeah, I mean, I have complete control over the notifications on my iPhone, and still I get so many more notifications. And my Apple Watch, and like I feel like I'm a pretty tech savvy person, and I go in there and I turn them off a lot, but they're still coming at me because sometimes you're downloading something, you're like, yes, notify me every second. So I do see that being a problem, or going off when it's not supposed to go off, that sort of thing.
3 a.m. in the morning, suddenly you're awake.
Yeah, but
Alexa.
Alexa.
It wasn't time to wake up.
I think I wouldn't mind if it was like, if it just told me like, hey, you got 20 minutes till you have to leave for work, or
that would be cool.
You know,
yeah.
Or reminding my kids, time to brush your teeth.
Actually, I like the 20 minutes before you have to leave the house, because then I can just blame Alexa. It's not me saying, all right, come on, we gotta go.
Yes.
I could be like, Alexa told us we have to go.
Exactly.
Like,
That's
are you gonna
what
let
we need.
Alexa down?
Yeah, I mean, we don't want a nanny in our house, but we want a digital assistant nanny.
Yes, to take over for parenting for the stuff that we don't want to do. By the way, Amazon is also refreshing their Fire tablet line, and they announced this today. The new Fire HD 8 includes Alexa for the first time. So Alexa is built into Fire tablets going forward. The new tablets can be up for pre-order today, starting at $90 for 16 gigs. It ships on the 21st of September, and they are going to bring Alexa into previous models sometime in the future, sometime in the coming months. So Alexa is going everywhere. Google Chrome is about to make a big change to how it treats HTTP connections. Starting in January 2017, that's next year, Chrome browsers will mark HTTP sites that also transmit passwords or credit card details as non-secure sites. And then beyond that, kind of as an extension of that plan, Google plans to mark all HTTP sites as non-secure sometime in the future, just saying like as a whole, HTTP is much less secure than HTTPS. That indicator will show in the address bar of the Chrome browser. That's going to alert users that their personal information could possibly be intercepted if they're, if they're on that site.
So yeah, there are a couple of things with it. Like you said, they're doing in baby steps, because the problem with this is the more notifications you get, the more likely you are to ignore them, right?
That's true.
Like, you just see things and you're just like, yeah. So I think that that is an issue. Demanding that every site have HTTPS is a cost issue for a lot of, especially small businesses. That's hard. If you're not transmitting, credit card information, do you really need it? I mean, I get it. Also, just saying something is not secure implies that everything else is secure, which is not true. Like HTTPS is also not absolutely secure. There can be problems with that too.
But it's securer.
Secure. I think
I realize that's
what
not a
they
word.
should have put in there.
Yeah,
this is
it's
securer.
HTTPS, way securer than HTTP.
It's really too bad you don't work for Google, because that would be better.
Yeah.
A better way of saying it, securer.
I should also mention that Google's not alone here. Google is pushing hard for this. Apple's pushing hard for this. They had the announcement that they would require iOS apps to force HTTPS by the end of 2016. Facebook Instant Articles, for example, uses HTTPS for their content, even if the originating site or publisher does not protect in that way. So I think it's just in general, it's better to be more secure than it is to be less secure. And HTTP versus HTTPS is definitely less secure. I hear you, though, on the cost, because getting that certificate, I mean, that's a recurring yearly cost in many cases. And there might be, certain scenarios where it's a lot to ask for something like that. But I'm all for more security.
What about if it slows you down?
Well, but I don't feel that HTTPS really slows things down anymore. I feel like it's pretty darn fast, and I don't know if that's as much of an issue as it used to be.
Faster and more secure.
Yeah, securer.
After the break, we talked to Alex Kantrowitz from Buzzfeed, who puts Apple's AirPods to the test, and he lived to tell about it. But first, let's take a minute to thank Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans, the sponsor of this episode. Here's a short list of things I hate. weightlifting classes, orange soda, flying roaches, hangnails, and filling out mortgage paperwork. Rocket Mortgage can help me with none of these except the mortgage part. Rocket Mortgage brings the mortgage process into the 21st century. It's fast, it's powerful, and it's completely online. Rocket Mortgage has taken all the complicated, time-consuming parts of applying for a mortgage out of the equation. If you hate searching through stacks of old files and paperwork, with Rocket Mortgage, you can easily share your bank statements and your pay stubs at the touch of a button, helping you get approved in minutes for a custom mortgage solution that is tailored to your unique financial situation. With Rocket Mortgage, you can do all of this on your phone or your tablet. It's a quick online process that you can manage from the convenience of your couch. So if you're looking to refinance your mortgage or buy a home, check out Rocket Mortgage today at quickenloans.com/TNT. That's quickenloans.com/TNT. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS, consumeraccess.org, number 3030. And we thank Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans for their support. So yesterday I talked a lot of trash about Apple's AirPods, and I regret none of it. But I thought it was only journalistically responsible for us to speak to someone who's actually tried the $159 Bluetooth earbuds that Apple announced yesterday. To do that, we've reached out to tech reporter Alex Kantrowitz from Buzzfeed. Thanks for joining us, Alex.
Thanks for having me.
So you were at Apple's event yesterday, and they let you try on the AirPods. So I need to get to my most important question first. How did you get the person's earwax off that tried them on before you did?
I didn't. And I don't know, my ears felt great for the past day, so I recommend this as a holistic treatment for anybody that's thinking about how to make their ears feel great.
I didn't expect that.
Okay, good to know.
There are health benefits to the AirPods. This is great.
So what did they feel like in your ears?
They felt fine. They felt like regular headphones to me. They were a little weird to get used to, but I had no problem with them.
And did you get to actually listen to things, or did you just get to try them on?
Yeah, I listened to music on them, and it actually came through really clear. I had to ask the person sitting next to me, the person from Apple who was demoing it, whether they were noise canceling or not. And I don't think they are, but the sound came through crystal clear.
And I think we have a little video of them. You ran around with them as well?
I did, yeah. I mostly just wanted to show off my running skills to the Apple team. But yeah, I also wanted to see whether or not they would stay in my ear or not after going for a run, which I saw was a concern that a lot of people had. And they stayed in fine. I was surprised that they were, usually when I'm running with Apple headphones, they pop out after about a minute. But I went around the demo room after it emptied out, and they stayed in the whole way through. So I was pretty happy about that.
And I see your coworker also. Oh, there you are running now. Now we're watching that. Yeah, that was sped up though. So I don't know how fast you were running.
No, he was actually running that fast. That wasn't sped up. He's a really fast runner.
I had to this event, but would have been there otherwise.
Man, I mean, looking at those things, I'm very used to it. So I have like these Bose in-ear headphones. They have a little kind of rubberized, I don't know, thing that helps keep that stuck in your ear. When I look at these things, they look, I mean, kind of contoured. So I guess I could understand maybe why they stay in the ear, but all ears are different. I don't understand how they don't shake loose at some point, but you're saying that they stayed in there. Do you have any fears of going out for like a 20, 30-minute run with them?
Yeah, I mean, they stayed in. I was also able to like tilt my head all the way down to see when they would fall out, and I wasn't able to get them to fall out.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course I have fears of going for a 20, 30-minute run with them and then staying in. You know, I brought a prop for this interview, which these are my $10 headphones. And I figured out this style that you can use, which is I wrap the wire my ear and then tuck in like that. These things aren't falling out. And frankly, I am, if you've ever been on a run and your headphones have fallen out, you know how frustrating that is. And I'm not about to change up this very effective system in order to experiment with these very expensive AirPods.
Well, I mean, we've already talked about earwax, so I think I can also bring up ear sweat, which is the problem, I think, when you're running. Like I guess you weren't sweating too much, because that's what makes them slip out.
That's true. I didn't consider that science when we filmed the film the video. So
You really needed to do some jumping jacks and get warmed up before you did that run. And I'm just saying. Yeah.
what I know now, I regret.
What about Bluetooth pairing? Because Bluetooth pairing, at least for me, is never always completely painless. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It can be a little frustrating. And then when you kind of stretch this out to just like general consumers, people who don't have a passion and a career in technology, and this is just how you connect these things. Did you have a chance to test out kind of the connection aspect of them? Did it seem fast? Apple was saying it was fast, but I don't know what that means.
Yeah, it was definitely fast. It was just like a snap when they were connected, which was pretty impressive. And we played the music from the phone, just on the phone speaker, and then popped the earphones in our ears, and it transitioned pretty quickly as well. So I think
very nice.
From a technology standpoint, that was pretty nice and seamless, in my opinion.
Excellent.
And Apple told Business Insider today or yesterday that if you can buy just one of them if you lose just one of them. They said they have no like, oh, we'll give you a new pair if you lose them or get them stolen, but they did say they would sell you them by the one, which I think is sort of them admitting that they're easy to lose. What do you think about that?
I think it's just kind of a funny product, honestly. I was talking with somebody who lives in New York yesterday, and I used to live there, and you get bumped on the subway all the time. So just imagine when somebody's on the subway tracks and they're trying to take one of these earbuds out of their pocket, or they get nudged and the thing could fall out onto the tracks. Like, I don't know. It's going to seem to me like there's accidents waiting to happen. But, I mean, maybe, I don't know, it's too early to judge. But, yeah, of course, if they sell it by the one, I don't know. These things are just very interesting. I'll put it that way.
So you were at the event yesterday. What was the feeling when they finally gave the reason for getting rid of the headphone jack? We've, of course, talked about that at length. I'm sure this is not news to anyone that the new phones will have no headphone jack, hence the AirPods. What was the feeling when they said they gave the reason of courage on stage? What was the feeling from that?
I couldn't look up from Twitter once I heard that.
You knew what was coming.
It's like the moment they said courage, I was like, what? This is a courageous thing. And of course, I could have looked around and seen a lot of the enthusiasts out there being like, yes, very courageous. But as any human would do, I was really interested in seeing all the jokey tweets that were coming out after that, and giving some other definitions of courage.
Well, the rest of us thought that. I was hoping you would be able to see what people were doing in real life, but I guess it's just as I thought. People were probably just nodding along and, or taking notes if they were journalists like yourselves.
Yeah, that Apple's created, right? It's more interesting to be looking down at your phone than to be in real life. So, me not really figuring out what was going on in the room is sort of product of the company that was making that presentation.
It's true. We were showing earlier the BuzzFeed piece that basically BuzzFeed talked to Greg Jawazak, Dan Riccio, Phil Schiller about why they removed the headphone jack, and basically said it's a dinosaur. It's time to move on. What do you say for people who are saying this is just greed on Apple's part? Like, now they own the Lightning jack, they own all the headphone, they own that, they license that, and so this is just basically greed. It has nothing to do with needing to move on from this technology.
I mean, I would be hesitant to say it's greed 100%. And also greed is sort of a weird word to use. I would call it capitalism, or the way that any consumer goods company works. I mean, we see this all across the board. All the many companies, and the most successful companies, have big research and development departments that create improvements to their products, and sometimes those improvements might be marginal, or they may not exist in the benefit to the consumer at all, but they're billed as improvements, and they release a new product and they have a new hype cycle, and the product does pretty good sales. So it would be like I would be surprised if Apple wouldn't try to come up with a new thing every year, as they've done. It's like Gillette, right? Do you need 5 razors if 3 razor shaving tool will get the job done? I don't think so. But they've made a business of adding a razor, now a strip, and it's like a Dollar Shave Club poke fun at them, like a back scratcher and a flashlight to these razor blades, and they've done pretty well. So a multi-billion-dollar company that's been built off of this. So I don't think Apple is, following any script different than any other company that sells stuff to people.
I guess the difference is that with razors, you don't have the same sort of just Apple fan people and haters at the same time. So it's almost like whatever you say, people are going to say, just judge you for however you feel.
Right.
About
It's confirmation
Apple.
bias either way.
Yeah. I don't know if there are Gillette fanboys and
invention. It is wild.
Well, thank you. That's something I learned new today, and I learned so much from you, Alex. Thanks so much, and hopefully we'll be talking to you soon again. I know you got some big stories up that you're going to be writing next week. Alex is a reporter at Buzzfeed, and he is at Kantrowitz on Twitter. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Alex.
Take care. So earlier this week, we did not mourn the loss of ITT Tech, the for-profit college with the unforgettable late-night commercials. A lot of you had a lot to say about this. Here are some of your responses.
All right, Larry, who is a professor at CSU, compares the for-profit college problem to the subprime mortgage disaster that almost brought the world economy into a deep depression in 2008. He writes, the for-profit schools are greedy to make profits and have signed up students who pay with guaranteed federal loans. Like the mortgage subprimes, the students who are often receiving a deficient training for a high price cannot repay the loans because they cannot get jobs with those deficient degrees. But that is not the problem of the for-profit schools. It becomes a problem between the students and their creditors, the federal government. You can think of this in the way of an Italian Western, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Some of the schools are good, but the rate of failure is far higher than for nonprofit accredited schools. And that's a really, really good point.
Mm-hmm. David writes specifically about student debt. He says, I work construction full-time or more. Then I go to school 4 days a week after work. My work and travel go from 6 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Then I have to be at college at 6:15 p.m. until 9:30 p.m. And then I go home and go to sleep. I know that my classes are easy at the moment, but if your classes are harder, you can take less at once. I personally chose construction because it doesn't take much thought, and construction companies are eager to pay for your college for tax breaks, and it makes them look better. I just hate hearing about people saying college is too expensive and they can't go to college and work at the same time. It is possible. People are just too scared to try.
Yeah, fear of the unknown.
I know. I thought, because you do hear a lot of people talking about like, oh, you'll just end up in debt. Mm-hmm. And, it is expensive and everyone's experience is different. But it's true. That might just be like, it's just easier to do the job I'm doing now because it seems too scary to try college.
Yeah, to kind of pull the rug out underneath what you already are doing and try something different. Bill Burlingame writes, although some have been found to be unscrupulous, often they are the only choice. If someone wants to learn a trade, he or she may have to attend a for-profit school. For instance, if a person wants to become a chef, barber, auto technician, commercial truck driver, etc., a not-for-profit school that has a program for the trade may not be available nearby. I also have a problem with the attitude that so many need a college education. I was talking with my daughter recently. These are his words. She mentioned that the company she works for has a degree requirement for many jobs that could be done by most people who don't have a degree. Frequently, the job is filled by someone with a degree in an unrelated field. Another problem is how the costs have grown so much faster than the inflation rate. I think in that case, as far as like requiring a degree when maybe the job doesn't necessarily need a degree, is maybe less about the skill that you learned from your degree and more about like the certificate proves that you are able to like focus and complete. You know what I mean? And that's a large part about what college degree actually is. It's like a proof that you were able to just like focus on this thing, this 4-year or even longer thing, and come out the other end successful, and that has value for employers.
I agree. And I think that it's a generational thing. It was easier, earlier. And just as it was easier, like for us to it was easier for me to get into college than it will be for my children. There are just more people.
Yeah.
There are more people out there. And so, it is different. So when you look at, back in my day, I could do this. It's just each generation, it really changes.
Yeah. And I will say there are definitely examples of good for-profit colleges or schools. And, beyond that for-profit schools that produce students that can go into their industry and do really well. Audio production, music production is a prime example of that. So many people do the Full Sail thing. Go to Full Sail University to learn how to work in a music studio or whatever. And the people who are running those studios, like, they're open to people outside, and they always have been outside of that system. But that system does not slow them down. Like, they know that they're going to get students that understand all that technical stuff, and those students would have a really hard time getting close to that stuff if it weren't for a program that was specifically dedicated to that. They're expensive, of course. And I should also say, and I don't know why this never came up before, that I used to teach at a for-profit college. I used to teach at Academy of Art University, and personally, I saw many of the students that I taught then have gone on to very successful careers. So it's not always the case of greed, and you're never going to pay back your debt, and you're never going to end up in a job that pays well enough to pay back your debt. It works in the other way too. It turns out ITT Tech, at least in this case, is one of those for-profit schools that wasn't doing so hot in that regard. Mm-hmm. Up next, if you are stubbornly holding on to that Galaxy Note 7, let me tell you in no uncertain terms, quit it. But first, let's take a minute to thank Grasshopper. They are the sponsor of this episode. Grasshopper is a virtual phone system designed for entrepreneurs. Grasshopper works just like a traditional phone system, but requires no hardware purchase or software installation. With their iOS and Android app, callers can reach you wherever you are on your mobile phone. Grasshopper allows you to keep your existing number so you can maintain your brand. And when you make a call, your client's going to see your Grasshopper caller ID. So it comes from the place that they expect, not your personal line. And that's great for your business brand. Simply select a toll-free or local number, record a custom greeting, and add multiple extensions for your business. Toll-free numbers are great for marketing, as you probably already know, and make your business sound even more professional. Set up department and employee extensions with custom call forwarding to any phone in the world. You can get voicemails emailed to you as audio attachments, so you can see them in your email. You don't have to pull out your phone to kind of do that. You can just do it on the desktop where you happen to be. You can also send and receive SMS and text messages from your business number. Join the over 250,000 Grasshopper customers today. Plans start at just $12 per month, and you have a 30-day money-back guarantee. So you can check it out for yourself. Turn your smartphone into a business line with Grasshopper. To save $50 on your order, go to trygrasshopper.com/twit. That's trygrasshopper.com/twit. And we thank Grasshopper for their support of Tech News Today.
TNT's fan of the day is at Noisemaker on Twitter, who says, I repurposed an old tablet and I use Pocket Casts to cast it to my TV. So I think we have that.
There we go.
There we are. And I think the tablet is maybe.
There we go. There's the whole picture.
The old tablet is there underneath it, casting it to the giant screen.
It's a nice battle station of technology under your TV.
That is.
Good work.
Show us how you watch or listen to TNT. Just record a video, take a picture of yourself or your setup, and post it anywhere. Instagram, Google+, Twitter, Facebook. Email it to tnt@twit.tv. We will find it. Use the hashtag HowIWatchTNT.
Yes, do that. All right, statistically speaking, the amount of battery explosions we've heard about involving Samsung's most recent flagship, the Galaxy Note 7, might not add up to much. As of September 1st, mind you, this was like a week ago, there were around 35 total battery explosions, and now it seems like every single day a new news story is hitting the web, and the pictures paint a scary picture. In one case, a South Carolina man plugged his Note 7 into the wall to charge while he went to pick up his kids at school, and he returned to find a home on fire, his home on fire, and firefighters battling the blaze when he got there. And a Florida man's Jeep, this was just reported, I think, this morning or last night. Florida man's Jeep caught fire while he was unloading the vehicle. His Note 7 was plugged into the dashboard charging, and when he emerged and came back to the vehicle, it was totally on fire. In both cases, the owners were completely unaware of the recall. So, yeah, somebody in chat room said, tough love. This is my tough love segment. I will tell you that yesterday afternoon I came home and I had a package on the front door. And what is it? It's my Galaxy Note 7. I'm not opening it. I'm sending it right back to them. I'm going to get a new one. I'm not risking this because that looks ugly.
I don't even know why you're keeping it in your house.
I know. I'm kind of scared. There's even a warning on the box that says lithium-ion batteries can explode. It's like Samsung knows.
I know. I didn't. You tweeted that warning. It's a picture of a fire in a wine glass. Can you explain what that means? I don't understand.
That's actually a really good point. I don't know if were they wine glasses.
I think so. Maybe it was.
They're like little batteries.
I guess
and
fragile and fire.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. It's fragile. Don't bump the package because it might actually explode like a bomb, as is the case of these stories that we're hearing.
Right, and don't drink wine because that might be the only reason that you would keep it charging on your car. So, do we think that the Jeep was running at the time and actually because they unloaded the groceries and then there was no one in it, but they came back?
I mean, it must be running to some degree. I don't know if the engine was running, but the electrical system had to be activated in order to actually be charging the phone.
Okay.
I'm guessing, or maybe it wasn't. In which case, if the car was off, then I'm guessing that means the phone actually wasn't charging. It was just plugged in. But I think based on what he was saying, it was actively charging. And most if not all of these cases have involved the act of charging as the thing that makes it go kaboom.
Right. They don't.
Yeah, there we go.
The
Okay,
wine glass.
so wine glass must mean fragile. And then there are batteries, and then there is flame with the note underneath, if damaged. So there you go. Samsung knows.
Okay, so
It's a conspiracy.
all of those of you out there who write screenplays or mystery or thriller novels, and I know you're out there, and I know you've probably been looking for like what's a good plot point of how you get rid of someone or something. Take note here, because you could say like, oh, I was charging my Note 7 and that's why the house burned down with all those secret papers that I didn't want you to see.
Samsung is in such a bad position with this.
They are, and I don't even know if we've talked about this, but Consumer Reports has really been coming down on them hard because they said they're not really doing an official recall. They're just saying like, hey, bring them back.
You really should.
Yeah, but it's not a
we'll do this if you bring them back. If this keeps happening, I think they'll be forced to do a required recall. But it's. Yeah, in our circles, like you can't avoid hearing about this and knowing that there is a recall of some sort. But a lot of, there are a lot of Android users out there, and to a lot of them, Samsung is Android or Android is Samsung, however you want to think about it. They buy the phone and then they're done paying attention. Like it's just their phone and that's what they use. It's not like they're following tech news all the time to know this kind of stuff. There's an awareness aspect that Samsung needs to step up a little bit so that people understand. Contact them in the way that they purchased the device, or I don't know how you do it. But
well, did you get an email? Leo got an email.
I didn't notice if I got an email, but I did purchase it through Samsung. Wait a minute. I think maybe I did. I'm going to search for
Leo got an email. I called Sprint just for something else, and that was the first thing they said. If you're calling about the Galaxy Note 7, like press 4. Obviously, like a car's on fire. It's going to be on the news now if it wasn't before. I don't know if this is for real.
I did on September 2nd. Information about your Samsung Galaxy Note 7. They still sent me the phone, but it was probably out already at that point. So they're doing it, but you're also buying phones through carriers and stuff, and I don't know.
Right, and who checks their email anymore? Creamy Corncob points out that an official recall means no more sales, and that is not true. They haven't officially stopped selling them everywhere. Official recall doesn't mean like they go to your house and take it out of your cold dead hands or anything.
Hey, we heard you got a Note 7 here. Yeah, maybe they should. Because then cars won't explode anymore. TNT records live every Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. UTC at twit.tv/live. You can always be a part of the show by emailing us at tnt@twit.tv. You can leave us a short voicemail at 260-TNT-SHOW. And you can find us on Twitter. We're at Tech News Today TV.
The East Side Studio is live. Our set is live. To celebrate this, we are offering custom t-shirts, mugs, hoodies, and stickers with the East Side Studio logo. This is for a limited time only, so grab yours today at teespring.com/twit.
There it is.
And if you want to subscribe to the show, and we want you to subscribe to the show, go to twit.tv/TNT. And if you want to tweet at me, I'm at Megan Morrone.
And I'm at Jason Howell. Thanks to our technical director, Kara Cole. Thanks to Greg, who will not be scrolling words on this screen anymore. What is going on? I'm going to miss you, Greg.
Greg's last day.
Yeah, I like that. And
nobody scrolled better than you, Greg.
It's true. Your scrolling is top notch.
And no one fell out of their chair in the middle of the show as good as you did, too.
Yes. Everyone, including the audio listeners, appreciated that.
Yes.
And thanks to Kevin for editing and making us all look good. And thanks to you for talking tech with us today. We will see you all tomorrow. Bye, everyone.